I'm never sure. I have one person ask me, can you send me a video or can you send me what you're going to be speaking about? I said, well, baseball. I don't know what I'm going to say. I never know. I never know. I never know. And but I can say that being around, I was born and raised around Jay, a little old community called Oak Hill, right on Beatty's Creek. And entire family, I just got asked by one of the media, how'd baseball start? I said, yeah, it was just the way it was. All these communities where we all come from, you can go way down south, Sequoia County, Adair County, over to Mays, right here in Cherokee County, swing around, up around Delaware County. Every Sunday afternoon, baseball games. You know, we didn't work. We played ball, though. And some of all the way just, it was nothing for me to jump in a car. And I was a bat boy at that, and all my uncles and my cousins playing. Go down to Greasy, North Greasy and South Greasy. Go to Briggs. Golly. Go to Peavine, Kenwood, Jay, Oaks, Terracida, Twin Oaks, Little Kansas. And a little place called Sid. Nobody knows where that's at, but there was a ball diamond there. And that's in Delaware County. Concord, Rao. And anyway, that's how it started. And I know I'm pressed for time here, but I appreciate all of you being here. Hey, Lynn, I didn't see you walk in. I appreciate all y'all being here. And I think it's 12 years ago, that lady sitting right there is the one that kind of kicked it off for me. Because somebody backed out on her to do this lunch and learn, and she gave me 2 days. She gave me 2 days. She said, I'm in a jam. I need some help. And I could say anything then because she worked for me then. And said, can you put all that stuff you got together 2 days? And I said, God, I don't know. But we did it. So I appreciate that, you know, Catherine, the one that started it off in terms of publicly speaking. Now, what you see behind me is a lifelong work of collecting and researching. There's something called research, which some sports writers have not learned that word yet, because they keep continuing to refer to a guy named Jackie Robinson, great ball player. The Brooklyn Dodgers debuted in 1947 in New York with the Brooklyn Dodgers. From that point on until yet still progressing, that they still often refer to him as the man that broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball. I knew that wasn't right, but who's going to listen to me up in Jay? Doyle Walford maybe, because he and I played ball together. And you know, nobody's going to know that. You know, we had Tulsa Tribune and Tulsa World at that time, and they still were doing that. To this day, ESPN is still referring to Jackie Robinson. Now, this is not negating anything Jackie Robinson did. He was a great ball player. What he had to go through as being the first African American in Major League Baseball, no one should have to go through that. Before Jackie Robinson went through it in 1947, there was 28 natives that went through that. The very first one, that man right over at Louis Francis Alexis. Now, I do want you to get up just anytime you want or afterwards and read about these men. These 28 men that cleared the path for today's players, like Adrian Hauser from Locust Grove, Ryan Helsley from right here. You have Jonathan Gray, University of Oklahoma. And you have the newest one on the block, I should say, a Navajo man named Anthony Sigler. He just signed with the Baltimore Orioles, Navajo boy. And so we have 4 natives in the major league right now that I know of anyway. I say I know of. And so when these 28 players played before Jackie Robinson, no one knew of him. No one knew of him. Well, probably a good reason you should know them, because some of these guys, Like my buddy Doyle Walford had a batting average .000. It means you didn't do nothing. But they played ball. He was a major leaguer. And if you look at the stats, and so just now, even the sports animal, 97.1, they're beginning to recognize that man right there is the first man to break the color barrier in 1897. That's 50 years before Jackie Robinson. And out of those 28 players, 18 are from Oklahoma. And out of the 18, 6 are Cherokee. These first 6 that you see in the panels, they're Cherokee boys. James Blue Jacket. And that guy right there, Patty Mays. James Blue Jacket, been from around up there, Adair, Oklahoma. Patty Mays from Locust Grove. Both of these boys went to Cherokee Male Seminary. So that's a long time ago. Joe Bird's the only one that went there first grade, him and Tommy, I think. And the rest of these are Cherokee boys to right here. Well, obviously, it's going to be Cherokee if your name's Van. We got any Vans in here? Anybody related to the Vans? Oh, yeah, you're probably right. Go down far enough, we're probably related. Ben Tin Cup. This guy, again, from around Adair, Oklahoma. Roy and Robert Johnson from Pryor, Oklahoma. Yes, sir?
Ben Tin Cup is my cousin.
He's your cousin?
Yeah.
Wow. See, I do this, and that's what I like, because I learn this.
He descends from Tin Cup Mouse, and I descend from Leaf on the Tree Mouse.
And now Tin Cup's grandpa was a sheriff in Delaware County. I did not know that until you do research. So, and well, thanks for telling me that. And the rest of these guys up here are from Oklahoma, up to a certain point. Yellow Horse, Pawnee, Allie Reynolds, Muskogee Creek. Now this guy's got the longest name in professional sports. Calvin Coolidge, Julius Caesar, Tuscahoma, McLish. So we just call him Cal. Albert Bender, first native in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. Now there should be 2. If I can get my friend Paul King from Choctaw Tribe to get Johnny Bench enrolled, we'd have 2 in the Baseball Hall of Fame. But we only have 1 native. That's this guy right here. Oh man, his record is 210 wins and 127 losses. This Creek boy should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He has better stats than 4 of the catchers that's in Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. I don't know why he is not in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Maybe because he went to OSU instead of OU. I don't know. I don't know. Some of you OSU fans in here. I know there's got, yeah, sorry. But he's Muskogee Creek. We need to do something because he's running out of time. Well, unfortunately, he's passed. But in the Baseball Hall of Fame ballots, he's got a little bit more time. He never gets real close. You got to have at least 75% of whoever to do that. He's got the stats. So all of these folks that you see pictured here, they're 15 different tribes. 15 different tribes, and again, most of them are from Oklahoma. Now, if I count from 1897 to right now, 17th February, we have 47 natives that played Major League Baseball. Wow. We have 47. And I had a list of about 50-some, but David knows this because we just talked about it a while ago. There's a lot of them that claim to be Indian, but they're not. And so I kind of learned something from that guy. He told me that one time. Make sure they're native. And I do. I call the tribe registration or enrollment office of that tribe that they claim. If they tell me no, if the Osage tribe, and this guy is called Wild Horse of the Osage, a guy named Pepper Martin. He played with the Cardinals gas house gang in the 30s. And he puts down he used to, well, he gone, but everything you wrote about him, he was Osage. Well, I have some friends up there, and I called, and they said, no, he's not Osage. He might claim to be, and so, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are, but just cannot prove it. But that's important to us native people. If you say you're Indian, you better be Indian. Rob Daugherty ain't going to put you up on the wall up here. That's real, that's true. But we've got, and Oklahoma should be actually proud. And I made this statement one time, and I'm talking about that guy right over there. Not Charlie Gord, I'm pointing toward him, but the guy on his right, guy named James Francis Thorpe, Jim Thorpe, probably the most well-known athlete in every sport. This guy with every sport. I went to Haskell, so did Jim Thorpe. We both went to Haskell, different times, but this guy, Jim Thorpe, I made a statement one time. I shared that with my brother Joe one time. I was talking to some Sac and Fox people. I said, and I said this kind of jokingly, but I think it's true. If Jim Thorpe were Cherokee, everything that this man has done in the world of sports, if Jim Thorpe was Cherokee, Cherokee Nation would have a massive building just for him. And Sac and Fox, I don't know, they need to do something. I've got probably the largest, I've got 189 cards of Jim Thorpe. That's baseball, football, and track. Everybody knows of him being an Olympian, the greatest ball player in a half century. Everybody knows of Jim Thorpe in track and in football, but very few people, even sports people, even a guy from ESPN said, "Are you sure about Jim Thorpe?" I said, "Yes, sir, I'm sure about him." He played 6 seasons Major League Baseball with Philadelphia and with Cincinnati Reds. And when he left baseball, and that was just something to do in between hunting and fishing and playing ball, as he says, and to play baseball. He left baseball, he had a .252 batting average. I looked on that deal. There last year, there was about 112 ball players didn't hit .252. And this guy did it just be goofing around, as he says. So all of these individuals up here, they played baseball way, way before any of us. All the folks are gone. All the folks are gone that you see up here in these placards. Not a one is still with us. And there's some more at the very front entrance up there too. They represent 15 tribes. They represent 28 people. Now somebody asked me, what about the ones after 1947? And there was a lot of Cherokees. 14 Cherokees, folks, have played Major League Baseball from 1897 to this day right now. And of course, one we talk about, and he's with the Baltimore Orioles now, and Sequoia boy, and we have some Sequoia people in here. Ryan Helsley, and he got traded. He went with the Cardinals, then to the Mets, then the Mets. Now he's in Baltimore, and Adrian Hauser, I think now was with the San Francisco Giants. I just read where he signed with the Giants, I think, and. Jonathan Gray, he's a free agent, but he'll probably go back to Texas Rangers. And this Navajo boy named, I mentioned him a while ago, Anthony Sigler. He's playing with Baltimore. He was with the Milwaukee Brewers last year. But these guys have played ball, and boy, I tell you what, it was hard. My son can attest to that, because he'd been there listening to powwow music. I'd be like a nerd. I'd be doing this thing right here. It took quite a while. Now, I will say, I tip my hat to the guy that was a co-editor. His name is Bill Nowlin from Boston, Massachusetts. He's a Boston Red Sox guy. I shouldn't even consort with him, but I do, because me and Paul, we're Yankee fans. And he's the guy that kind of prompted me pretty much, saying, Rob said, I've heard you on ESPN, I've heard the podcast. Would you pursue a book? We'll help you. we'll pay for it. And I thought, so I kind of looked into it. My friend Linda over there, she kind of gave me an idea how much it would cost. Shoot, I'd have to cut about 1,000 ricks of woods just to pay for the publishing. And but when that happened, I said they centralized their focus on the 28 natives that played baseball before Jackie Robinson, and that was my whole thrust, to let people know Jackie Robinson was not. And I'm not disengaging anything with Jackie Robinson. You know, he needs to be mentioned. He's in the Hall of Fame, and rightfully so. He was a heck of an athlete. But when they say he broke the color line, no. I knew that all along. And I kind of shamelessly, how do I do this? Approach the media, approach sports writers. How do I get this word out? Because my family knew, my daughter knew. She said, I think she got tired of listening to me. And every time somebody said Jackie Robinson, hang on, let me tell you something about it. Sit down. And they did. And now when the effort, putting this book together, I thought, golly, I've got enough here maybe for 100 pages of writing stuff. And there's an organization called SABR, Society for American Baseball Research. They're the ones, at a press of a button, I can give out the name, let's say, Charles Albert Bender. You notice I don't call any of these chief. They weren't chief. Only chief we have right here is sitting right there, Chief Joe Bird. But if you played ball in the 70s, you were called chief. In the 60s, you were called chief. They still doing it. And but no. My name's Rob. I'm not chief. My name's Rob. I would tell Gerald Ben, he was a baseball coach here at Northeastern, when I played ball here way back in 1970. Oh man, that's when baseball was real baseball. No DH. You played real ball. And if you're a pitcher, you threw 9 innings, you didn't pitch 5, and they give you a win now. Shoot. Heck, half of us Indian boys could have done that. And but Bill Nowlin told me, he said, we have sports writers, ESPN sports writers, they want to jump on that wagon that you said you would do. And they said, they've already written books about some of these guys. I said, well, shoot. Heck, let's just have those guys collaborate what my work is and their work, and a la 316 pages later. Bunch of sleepless nights together. So doing this, and that was my main thrust, was when this sports writer said, you appear to know what you're talking about. Prove it. That's all I needed. You don't tell a J-boy, jump off that cliff. Jump off of it and prove it. Oh, he'll jump off. I don't care how high it is. And so when that started, that's when Catherine come along, and she'd come into the office. Said, oh gosh, where'd you get this? I said, oh, I got that at a sale at a baseball shop in Little Rock, Arkansas. I bought it at a flea market, Springdale, Arkansas. I bought it way out there in Sevierville, Tennessee. Oh, no matter where I went, I always would go to and asking. I'd always ask for, do you have any Jim Thorpe cards? And this was in Searcy, Arkansas. And the guy says, who's that? Almost reached across slapped that white boy right there. He didn't know who Jim Thorpe was. He didn't. I thought he was just joking, so I was just going to joke around along with him. But that's how I've gained all these cards. Of all the natives in professional sports, and I'm only talking right here just football and basketball and track, and there are some football I do need to do more, but I concentrated on baseball. And I hate to tell you this, Kelly and BC back there, but your inheritance, it's gone. It's right here. There's no money, because that's where my money's at. I have 521 cards. And some of these, you can't walk in to S&S Sports and Broken Arrow. You can't walk into any sports and find these cards. Boy, I I've driven, I don't even know how far, but if I knew or smelled or people would tell me that there's a baseball card of this, and I have a lot of the big dealers now, they have my name, they have my card, they have this list of native baseball players, and if they had one, I would take a picture, it'd be at an auction, take a picture and let me know how much it is. Don't go over, I'd look, and don't go over 200. Then I'd go around and borrow money to get that 200 almost. But it has been lifelong work. And I'm not quitting. I'm still, every once in a while somebody will tell me, hey, do you know there's a baseball card of this guy? I said, really? I said, and I'd look through there, and I can't shoot. I couldn't do long arithmetic or whatever, but you ask me about a card, if I have it, my memory goes right to it. I'll tell you if I have that card or not, and I will say, yeah, go ahead and get it. Don't go over $80. So that has been a journey. I've talked to many of the families of these guys right here, and when I finally do, I do a lot of powwows, as Chief Bird mentioned earlier, referred to. When I go somewhere, I take my cards that I have of a tribe in that area or some member of that, citizen of that tribe. I take them with me. And I take, now I can take this book, and I'll shamelessly, over the microphone, I say, is anybody here related to, anybody here, these guys right here? Last time I did that, I think was, I was in, oh shoot, I must be in there. And I wanted to know if anybody was related to a guy, and his name was Isaac Cadotte. Played with Chicago White Sox way back in early 1900s, and nobody came forward. I had my cards and all the research I've done with that person, but I'd done that, and then I was in Tennessee, and I mentioned a guy named Edward Pennance. And Elijah Edward Pennance right there. He's from Walpole Island, Ontario, Canada. He's Ojibwe First Nations. And when I said that, there was a woman that came up there and she said, that's where I'm from, Walpole Island, Ontario. She was at that powwow and back east, and she said, that's one of my relatives, that's one of my kinfolk. Just like I learned David, being related to Mr. Tin Cup. When I learned that, and I sat down with her probably 20 minutes, man, I learned a lot. And she knew a lot about Elijah or Edward. And so that's how I do a lot of my research. Because if you call somebody up in Tulsa World, shoot, they can't tell you nothing about that guy. And probably shouldn't, because we're in Oklahoma and he's from Canada. He's the only Canadian native that's in my collection here. Now, I concentrate on the first 28 natives that played before Jackie Robinson, but I've been asked to kind of update my research and collection, including those gentlemen from, one of the most interested ones was a guy named Gene Conley from Muskogee, Cherokee boy. He was 6'8". He pitched for the Boston Red Sox, he pitched for Milwaukee Braves. Won the World Series that year, 1958. Right after the baseball season, he tries out for the Boston Celtics. I think Red Auerbach was the coach, and they signed Gene Conley, 6'8". Why wouldn't you? He's 6'8". And they won the NBA title that year. So he's the only person in sports in the same year to win a World Series in baseball and an NBA title in basketball. Man, I mean, that's something, nobody knows of that guy. His name was Gene Conley. He's a Cherokee boy. And now, before you leave here, one thing I do want to, go look at Jim Thorpe's, the panel I have over there. I did not even realize there was that many Hall of Fames. He's in the Kicking Hall of Fame. I didn't know. There was even a Kicking Hall of Fame in the Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. He's in the Track Hall of Fame. He's in the American Indian Athletic Hall of Fame. It used to be in Lawrence, Kansas. I was a board member of that one time. Now it's in Oklahoma City. Now they just kind of lost everything, unfortunately. Look at how many Hall of Fames that this guy, holy cow, this guy was an athlete. Earlier I talked to one of the guys here, he's talking about Bo Jackson up there, that's right. And And Bo Jackson at Haskell up in Lawrence, Kansas, he said, you know who my hero is, has been, always will be? He said, I played 2 sports, football and baseball. Everybody knew Bo Jackson. Deion Sanders did the same thing. There's been 2 other athletes, but they weren't really too good. But Jim Thorpe.
4 gold medals.
Who's that?
4 gold medals.
That's right.
1932.
32.
In Berlin. And they stole his shoes
Yeah.
before his race.
1912. And Jim Thorpe has the same story. He competed in the decathlon and won both events. And but it was just amazing that this guy did what he did. And being from Oklahoma and named as the world's greatest athlete, obviously so. And so there's just it's been a long haul, folks. It's not been easy. It's not been easy to kind of get laughed at. The guy says, you don't even know what you're talking about. And I'm talking to sports writers. Daily Oklahoma, Tulsa World. I'll go ahead and say it. And there was one guy probably that I would have to say, Big Al Jerkins. Have you guys heard of him? Channel 2 in Tulsa. Only one that really showed any respect to anything I was doing. And even before me, he would not refer to Union high schools as Union Redskins. He would just say Union football team. He wouldn't say Cleveland Indians. He wouldn't say Kansas City Chiefs. But Big Al Jerkins, he's back now in Oklahoma. He moved to Florida for a little while, and he's in all kinds of broadcasting Hall of Fames. But he's only one, first figure that I knew that would not say Union Redskins. And I'm always mentioning his name because he has respect for native athletes that nobody knows. And probably when you only play 2 games or 1 game or bat only 2 times, nobody's going to know your name. They have no reason to. And Rob Daugherty does because they were native. And once I checked on that to make sure they are native, they get this. And so, and also I want you to take a look at the cards up here. And I don't know if I'm ever going to do that. That's too hard to work, is to bring it up to current. I just got asked recently, one of our good friends up in Saskatchewan, Canada, one of our powwow friends, he said he got together with about 4 of the First Nations people up there where he's from, up around Saskatoon. He said, you're native, we know you, you're native, we know your work at this book. We're going to get together, and I couldn't answer it. We want you to write a book like this about our native First Nations people in hockey. Wow. They have more First Nations hockey players than we do native Major League Baseball players. They have more. And I'd already done some interest. But if you're native, I've got several already. And I said, man, I can't give you an answer, Daryl. And I said, I can't give you an answer. But I called him again just to say, how many would you think there is? Said, we don't know. We know at least 39. But more research, you'd probably come up with some. And we're talking about hockey. And so I don't know if I'm going to do that. Then I've been asked, Joe Bird and I do this all the time. We'll say, who's the best ball player you know of from Stillwell? And we come up with some names. Ice Killer. My grandpa used to talk about Ice Killer. That's his name, Ice Killer. Good ball player. And some of the guys, and I'll always get a call, and Chief Bird will laugh at me. I got off the phone one time with this lady from Stillwell. Oh, she was still ringing in my ear when I hung up. My uncle played, and he said, how come you don't mention him in your... I said, well, ma'am, like Chief Bird would say, we're not talking about guys that played at Briggs or Peavine. We're talking about guys that played in Brooklyn and Detroit, Boston, New York. And I finally got her to understand there's a difference between professional ball players and major league ball players. Dole and I played ball together back in Jay. Half our team signed pro ball, but they'd never made it to the major leagues. And And that's why it is called Native American Major Leaguers, because these are guys that, as they would say in the baseball parlay, made the big show. We got tons of guys. We got 7 guys up around Jay that played professional ball. And you've got some down in here. But they made it possibly to Class A, Double A, Triple A, rookie ball, and so forth. Hi, Diane. And she's got a bunch of my books over in her shop over there. And there's a difference, and it's hard to explain to people that, yes, they did play pro ball, but they didn't play Major League ball. And so I'm leaving out a whole handful of cousins that we have around Jay that played pro ball, but they didn't play Major League ball. And again, I reemphasize, I could say we have 48 if Johnny Bench would just enroll. Paul and I talk about that all the time. And he doesn't need health care, he doesn't need housing. Shoot, he could build all of us houses, but he doesn't need any of the services. But I can't figure out. I did run into another Muskogee Creek boy, and now I'm passing his name because I never knew he was Creek. I worked for Creek Nation for a couple of years. I never heard his name, and he's from Dewar, Oklahoma. He played like, I think, 8 years of Major League Baseball. Mark Ryle is his name. And I started researching him, shoot, there he was. I never knew he was native. So now, and that's after this was published, and that's way after all this stuff here. So now, from this point on, I'm going to include him because he is Muskogee Creek, he's enrolled. I do run into that because there are going to be some names that I just cannot. So it's been a hard road, and doing research because it's difficult when your own family members that you speak with didn't even know that they played Major League Baseball. I was telling them something that they didn't know, but every one that I did call, they were so gracious afterwards. And so they started their own research. I've even had a couple families say, we have stuff about him, would you like to have it? I said, I will buy it from you. They said, no, we want you to have, you're the only one that's ever asked us about. So when that happens, that makes me feel good. At least now they know that there was a Major League Baseball player in that family.